Alright, hi guys. We've just put the KSPEED Stage 1 kit into this 310R. I'm just going to do a quick video on how to do the KSPEED 2-degree pump wedge. Some people find it a little bit difficult. It's not that hard. Now I've got the appropriate spanners I need down there. I've got my electric tools to make it a bit quicker for me. Alright, so I'm going to start. First off, you've got the reverse thing in here, if I can get in there to show you. So you just slide that back. Sometimes you need to screw up and do it. Like this one. Right, out she comes. While it's out, just make sure it's free. So you got to put it back on. Alright, so now we can crawl underneath it. Take the speedo wheel off. I'm using a chest mount GoPro, so hopefully it can catch all of what I'm doing. I'll try and move around a little bit so you can. So it's the 4 PK screws that go underneath there. Now just push that out so it's not going to get caught. Alright, you've got the 8 5mm bolts that go around, 3 on each side. I always loosen them before I I'll use a buzz gun so it's a bit easier, a bit quicker. Now the ride plate's going to fall down now. It's only held on by the silicone that goes around the ride plate. Pull down it and out she comes. Drop water on where I'm about to lie. It is what it is. Okay, so now position this. We've got the steering cable and the trim cable. First off, let's crack these. Alright, because we're going to need to adjust these after we've put the KSPEED 2-degree trim wedge in this joint in here. Okay. I should take the bilge hose off. So I've loosened the 2 lock nuts. Loosen the 2 10mm. You can use a socket, you can use a spanner, whichever you choose. For quickness, I'm going to use my electric. Alright, I went and got my 12mm extension and socket. Probably should look for the shorter extension, but doesn't matter. Got it here now. The Loctite on there. Okay, now we have access to where the jet pump is going to go. This just fits. There's a groove here, right? There and there, so you can see which way it goes. Now you've got a fat side and a skinny side. Obviously to get the 2 degree wedge, you put the skinny side at the top and the fat side at the bottom. Fairly self-explanatory. That goes on in there. It fits in, no problem at all. We then get your jet pump back together. Put a little bit of Loctite. This one's had a fair bit of Loctite put on it. And I need a dab. It's I don't want you to come out, not you're never coming out. Tell you what I did do. The bottom of these, because it's thicker, I've provided 2 longer bolts. So you got to put the 12s up the top. Like, try and lean back so the GoPro gets you. Forget about those 2, discard those, and you've got the 2 13mm ones that I provide. They go on the bottom. So now we can buzz those back up. Okay, obviously tighten them on a so now you have the KSPEED 2 degree pump wedge in place. And now the nozzle is mechanically angled 2 degrees up at the rear, so we can keep the trim in the straight ahead position, but we get 2 degree angle on the nozzle to provide a little bit of nose lift. Now this is all going to be out, right, because obviously the thickness of the wedge. I will go get the measuring tools and I'll show you how I do it. Alright, so I've gone and got the measuring sticks that I use. These I just use a little 6-inch steel ruler. I work in millimetres, obviously I'm Australian. We will put the 2 bolts back in for the steering and the trim, because we're not ready for it yet. Just so it holds it, so I can do my testing. Now, with this one here, look, I can see that has plenty of thread because we're all the way up. Sometimes you'll find that this might be sort of, so the thread on here is what we're looking for. This particular ski was all the way, I'll try and get a bit closer, was all the way in, so I know that we've got plenty of winding out, but I'm going to do it for, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and a half threads before it falls off. Alright, so I can wind that thing back on. I know how many threads I've got. I'm going to start with, say, 5 because I know that it's going to get me close. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason I check how many threads I've got left is the last thing I want is to have it all adjusted and only been hanging on by 3 or 4 or 5 threads. I want a little bit of thread in that joint for steering. If you need to, on the other end of this cable is the identical setup underneath the steering arm. So you can go on there, crack the lock nut, turn it out a few turns and bolt it back in again, and that will release more cable at this end. So, alright, I'm just going to put that in loosely. Okay, use my steel rule. I'm going to go full lock. I just go in the center here. I'll get my finger out of the way. There's no, I just go on the same side. So if I look down there, that's actually saying just under 50 mil. I'll try and tilt it over so you can sort of see it. Smack bang on 50 mil. So I turn it this way. You're kidding me. So I've actually got it right, but I'm gonna make it wrong so you can see what you've got to adjust. So let's just go in 1 turn. That's pretty arsey. Alright. So that there is telling me a bit under 50 mil, so about 49 and a half. And that's telling me about 48 and a half. So if I turn it, getting in the video, if I turn that around, I actually think I need a half a turn then, I don't remember. Full lock, so that's 49 mil. $49 and a half mil. So I did only do half a turn. Okay. So full lock. Look at that. Smack bang on 50. and the same again. So I actually have the steering is now adjusted. Okay, so I can leave that alone there. Lock up the lock nut. Nip it up at least. So it's not going to move. Now we're going to do the trim. So the trim is done the same way, except we measure from here and read it here, and the same again from here. So we're going off the square nozzle part here, and this part here. That's where we're getting our measurements from. Okay. So we're going to know that that is showing me 69 on the bottom and about 61 at the top, so we can clearly see that we have to come out a fair bit to get the trim straight. We've got to make sure that the trim is correct up at the steering. I'm going to go turn that on now. I'll just cut this crap, a bit of it out. Okay, so just move it up and down. Yes, we're right, we're in the center. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's getting fairly low to pull out. Okay, so I know we've got plenty in there, so 11. Let's go back. I'm going to try 5 again. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Just because I've done 5, that is not the correct measurement every time. It just gives you a starting point. Alright, we are sitting on. This rule's getting a bit scratched up. So that's 68. Tough way to go. So that one's going to take more than 5. So I guess it doesn't really matter now. Just there's 6, there's 7, there's 8. Let's see what we got. There's no magic number. You need a ruler. $67. It's getting close, about 65. You know, hopefully you can see what I was doing there. Actually, I was just working away. $66. It's sitting on about 66 and 66. That's just kind of where we want to be. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with those. I have enough thread on that it's not going to break on me, because I like to leave enough thread in the ends. Again, we'll nip that one up so it doesn't move. Alright, I always like to just move them around and double check. Shell saying, measure twice, cut once. Okay, I'm pretty happy with those. I will take these two bolts out. A bit Loctite on them. Just a dab. Start. There we go. Alright, I'll use this for quickness. I always do everything by hand anyway, just so I get the feel that it's tight enough. Okay. Just to recap, so we unlock these here, which I'm going to lock up right now. So we done. Where's the 8mm? 8mm should be here. Alright, so other than putting the ride plate on, we're actually done. The biggest part is getting the measurement that people haven't been understanding, and I just use a steel rule and I go from here to here and from here to here, but on full lock. So there to there, there to there, and there to here, and there to here. So once it's all in play and the measurements are correct, then you know it's going to be coming out straight and your steering is going to be dead smack in the middle. Putting on the ride plate, I Loctite the bolts that go around. I don't really tend to Loctite the screws that go into the Speedo. That just pops in. I'm pretty sure that you guys know how to do it from here. I've got to put it together, so I'll keep the film running anyway, but okay. Put a couple in to hold it so it doesn't fall down. You always got to undo your Speedo wheel, because imagine having all this weight of the ride plate hanging on these wires where it goes into, should be able to see it. So those are the Speedo wires down there, and if that is still connected, it hangs on those wires. You should be able to see that red and the green wire. I've had a few of those where it's pulled on those. I don't know if I can get the light in there. It's pulled on those and broken the wire. So you get a F1 code for the speed sensor all the time. It's because the wire's broken. I have successfully repaired them. A little bit of messing around, but I've certainly successfully repaired them. There's no tricks to it. It's just sensor wire going in and sensor wire Alright, so that's sitting in there. Let's put all these together. Alright, so I'm going to use my little buzz gun to do these up. I specifically brought this buzz gun because it really doesn't have a lot of grunt in it, so it sort of doesn't wreck anything. If some of the more powerful guns, buzz guns, can hurt the, obviously over tighten the bolts, etc. This one doesn't. I always check them. They've all been checked. Now tighten these up here. Run around. I always recheck everything. Just how I was brought up to do it. Just check it again. That way you know it's right. Okay, last thing we have to do is connect up the reverse. Done. Wasn't that hard. And it's in there. Adjustments set, the steering set, the trim set in the middle. Good to go.